Well, hello, Internet. Welcome once again to My Friends Like Cool Shit. Very special guest today. I know I say that every week, but this time, although I'm a Friends Become Family subscriber, this person is actually blood related to me. One of my two little sisters, Kristin, here. And you're going to be shocked to find this, but as a mother, Kristin really likes her kids. She made this post as a joke, I'm pretty sure, but I got her to come on here anyway. Uh, I figured we could just talk broad topic of motherhood instead of just the kids.
That
But
sounds good.
I mean, talking about the kids broaches motherhood anyway. How are the kids, first off?
They're good. They're always good. One's currently downstairs doing his homework or summer school stuff, and the other one I think is probably on TikTok in her bedroom.
Hearing that she's on TikTok right now is kind of funny because for so many years you had limited the screen time of
Yeah.
the kids. And I obviously every time I feel like I saw you guys, it loosened a little bit. But with the pandemic, how much did you throw screen time out the window?
Um, I did a little bit, but not a lot. They have to earn it. So I guess I could start with the fact that I have two kids. Emmeline is turning 12 in a little over a week, and Bentley is 10. So with the pandemic, when it started, Bentley was in third grade and Emmeline was in fifth grade. And I tried to keep things exactly like they were at first. We had a pretty strict policy of no screen time Monday through Thursday, and then maybe a movie on Friday, but we didn't do a lot of screen time Friday. But they had pretty open opportunities on Saturday and Sunday. They had to do some inside playtime, outside playtime, reading, chores to earn it. But then once they completed that, they could have it the rest of the day. So we kept that up for a few months. And then I got sick of it. I needed them to just sometimes just to go because they would want to watch TV in the living room if they if, if they could talk me into watching it or dad into watching it, then it didn't count as their screen time before they were allowed to have it. So that they were kind of on top of me and on top of each other. And I definitely loosened it up over the summer, but our rules have been for a couple of years now, they have to do 1 hour of outside playtime or something active. So here at home, they can go into our basement and we have like a gymnastics bar. They can ride scooters or whatever in the winter time. And they have to do 1 hour of some kind of indoor playtime is what we call it. They can do crafts, play with some of their toys, puzzles, whatever. And then an hour of reading every day, which isn't hard because they're readers. They love that. And then they have at least one chore a day, depending on what day of the week it is. And then they can have whatever amount of screen time that they want. So a lot of times they're done by like 11 in the morning. So they do that until like 8 o'clock at night. They're on their devices. So we do limit some stuff though. Like Emmeline's only allowed 2 hours of TikTok. I just increased that from 1 hour. And no devices from 8 p.m. until 7 a.m. They shut down completely.
Awesome. And I mean, just from everything I read, the stimulation of screens before bed makes it impossible to sleep,
Yeah,
which goes
yeah,
for
and
adults too out there, folks. So if you're watching this before bed, watch it again tomorrow because you should be reading or something before bed.
that is true. And I try to tell my kids that. And I've noticed that with the cutoff at 8 p.m., our kids are now going to bed a little bit later. So they have a little bit more downtime. We typically will tell them, okay, go up to bed at this time, but you can read for half an hour. And Bentley has been sleeping so much better. Emmeline's always been a really good sleeper, but Bentley is hit or miss. So he's been sleeping a lot better. No more midnight visits because he can't sleep.
Emmeline was a great sleeper from the womb. I remember when we
Yeah.
went to, I remember like it was such a long time ago. It was 12 years ago. But when we went halfway across country to visit Uncle Todd and the boys, and I was amazed that she just fell into those 4-hour sleeping patterns, like with feeding
Yeah,
instantly.
and she was like 7 or 8 weeks old, something like that. She was so little. Um, and she slept really good. On the way there, she slept really well. The way back, she only slept well because you were holding her hand.
That is true. My arm was dead for about a week after because I, well, I think that goes to, I mean, your credit as a mother. I remember, I mean, you held on to a variation of your baby Susie for way longer than I think a normal kid totes around a baby because you were always like destined to be a mother.
Yeah, it's the only thing from as long as I can remember, it's the only thing that I ever really wanted that in my life. What do you want to be when you grow up? I just want to be a mom. So that's kind of pushed me towards childcare because it's very similar. And I do like childcare, but I found that once I had kids, childcare didn't feel as fulfilling because it's just not the same as being a parent.
One of the four of us children, you were the only one who really wanted to be a parent your whole life. I was always like, some weeks, months, years, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to be that father on the playground with the kids. But then, really, I mean, when Tiffany had Kyla and Sophia, and I could just take them through the park and then give them back to Tiffany and Tom afterwards, I realized I'm just a great uncle and I love that role. And I mean, I think for years we all thought Jessica was never going to have kids. And then when she did, Jessica's a great mother herself. And
Yeah.
Joe, who may have been the last of the four of us that I thought was going to have kids, has stepped into that father role so well in the last year. He's great with the girls here. So it's great to see you guys all being great kids. I will have great parents. I will happily just continue to be that uncle. So
Well, the kids love their Uncle Greggy, that's for sure.
I don't know. Emily, my little cabbage roll. Someday she doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, she's getting a little bit more of an attitude now that she's hitting those preteen years and those hormones are kicking in. Oh my goodness, the funniest story, and she's probably gonna hate me for telling it, but very recently, her and Bentley were sitting at the table eating breakfast, and Bentley had half a waffle. He shoved half a waffle in his mouth, not even a whole waffle, a half a waffle, and she was bawling. She was crying. She was so upset. No idea why. None.
Uh,
And I was like, okay, uh, that's gonna happen.
well, unfortunately, that's a combination of hormones and being just like her mother.
She is. She's me, but like chilled out a little bit.
Yes, the chilled out a little bit is true. When we were in Indiana, and you kind of threw screen time out the window for the kids because, well, we were in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. There was nothing to
Yeah.
do. And Joe and I harassed her so much that week. And you found it hilarious how frustrated she was getting. But she never got to the point where any of us would when we were kids. Like things would have thrown, fist would have flown. Like, but she got frustrated, but took it very gracefully.
Yeah. Overall, she's just that kid. Things like kind of roll off of her. She's really easygoing, really calm. Now, if you did that to Bentley, Bentley would react like I would react. He would lose it.
Well,
He
when we were
doesn't.
doing it to Emmeline, he reacted exactly like you reacted, and the fact that you two were both laughing at her.
Yeah, I tell her all the time, like that's just what uncles do. That whole time it's just like that's just what your uncles do. If you don't like it, tell them to stop.
I think what helps too is now that Joe and I are adults, we also knew when to back off of her.
Yeah,
We may have went a little bit further than we should have because you and Bentley found it so hilarious because we had an audience that was into it. But you can you can see because she's very her emotions are on her face, just like with you. And so
yeah.
we were able to recognize that, okay, she's not having even an ounce of enjoyment in this anymore.
And and I'm pretty good at reading both kids. And if I thought that she was really, really like upset or that she was gonna hang on to it at all, more than just a passing annoyance, I would have stepped in. But if she was feeling if it was more than just like annoyance, then she would have said something to me too. So
Yeah, she's always been such a smart, perceptive kid that it was always the feeling between Joe and I that she understood we were playing with her and that we meant no harm in it. And she loves us, so she can
Yep.
get agitated with us.
Yep. She'll put up with it. She wouldn't put up with it as much from me or especially her daddy, especially these days. Daddy is chopped liver a lot, but or her brother. Like she won't tolerate it all from her brother, but she did because she likes you.
One, she's really good with people in general. Last time I was home and the last time I saw you guys, she was really great with her little cousin Lily the whole time because I had Lily for those 2 days. And Lily, now that she's a couple years older, but she was at the age where she needed constant attention, and
Yeah.
having her big cousins there, she wanted their constant attention. And I thought both kids did really, really well with them. Well with her, you had to prod them a little bit to go outside to play with her, but they did well
Mhm.
trying to include her in what they were doing, although she wanted to be doing something completely different.
They've always been really good about that. And I think part of their growing up with their first few years in school, they were at a very small school. So, like, everybody knew everybody, and they had programs where the older kids were reading to the younger kids. So they got to see that modeled. So they've been really good with it. And, like, I babysit for a friend. I have she has a 2.5-year-old that I have a lot during the week. And to see the growth with my kids, like helping to entertain her at times or like include her like out on the trampoline. Sometimes they just want to go and jump and do flips because they're big kids, but they're really good about, yeah, I'll go out, I'll jump with you. Um, Emmeline has been putting her tap shoes on and letting the little one wear her old tap shoes, like her first pair of tap shoes that I've saved. And they go in the basement and they like tap away together. And Emmeline tries to teach her these really advanced dance moves. Like, look what I can do. Can you do it too? And it doesn't work, but it's fun for me as a parent to see that in my own kids, see their caregiving sides with younger kids.
That is awesome. And you made the decision to homeschool through the pandemic. How was that?
Good and bad. Overall, it was pretty good. I thought it was easier than it was. I was fooled. So I planned things out. I like at the beginning of the year, I had a plan of attack of what we wanted to do. And then every few weeks or sometimes the day of, I would plan like, okay, you need to do these workbook pages. I did a lot of workbooks and do these reading or writing or whatever. And I would just give it to the kids and they would come to me when they had questions. And it was going really, really, really well, I thought. um, Turns out it was a little bit wrong. Emmeline kind of breezed through it. She's so good with like, this is what you need to do. She's very like self-motivated and she would work through it and get it done and just be done with it. As the year went on, I found out that there was a lot of things that Bentley wasn't doing that he was assigned. And sometimes it was like math, and I'd go after a couple of weeks and I'd be checking his math workbook to make sure everything's caught up and make sure he's understanding things. And there would be like days that he would just skip doing any math. So then we had to catch up or do work on the weekends. And then after I got on top of him about math, then we did a geography thing, and it was more to be fun, where they cut and pasted some things onto like a lap book is what they're called. So it was like state capitals and fame, foods the state is famous for, famous people that came from that state. So it was a kind of a fun thing for them to do, I thought, and they enjoyed it at first, and then it became tedious for Bentley. So he just stopped doing it completely. he would, and he was a smart kid, so he'd take out his binder that he had all this information in, and he'd pull it out in front of him, and he'd say something about like whatever state that they were working on that day, and he just wouldn't do it. Or sometimes he would do some pages either in math or like geography, and he would just write, I don't care, or I don't know, who cares, just like that kind of stuff, because he just didn't want to do it. So it turns out I got, 3/4 of the way through the year thinking that this was easy. Like my kids were doing so well, and I failed to actually follow through on things. So I'm excited for them to go back to regular school. A lot.
I can imagine. They'll both be in public school this next year?
Yep, it'll be Bentley's first year in public school. He's going into 5th grade. And for our town, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th is a junior high, or middle, they call it the middle school. So a couple
It's
years
crazy
ago.
that 5th grade is middle school for there.
Yeah. It used to be 6th, 7th, 8th, they had a junior high, but they built a new high school here in town. And the old high school they converted to a middle school. So I think it just kind of made sense to have 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th because they had the space for it. And then the old junior high they're converting into an elementary school. So they'll have 3 big elementary schools, pre-K to 4th, and then 1 big middle school and 1 big high school. The good thing is that the middle school, they have like the 5th graders on one wing, 6th graders on another, and then the 7th and 8th graders are mostly like on the other side of the building in their own wings. So they'll both be at this new school. Emmeline's actually never set foot in the school because she did her first year of 5th grade was her first year in public school, and she was the first 5th grade class to go to the junior high, but they had it at the old building. So they've since moved to a new building. So they're both going to be in a new building. Thankfully, she at least has some friends. I don't even know if Bentley's going to know anybody, but I worry more about her having friends because she is a little bit behind her peers socially. Like she's like half a step behind them kind of thing. And Bentley, he's a class clown kid. He's going to make friends easy. So I don't worry so much about him.
Now with Emmeline, she just kind of aged out of the private school. Was that what it was?
No, the private school actually goes up through 8th grade.
Okay.
It was a combination of not feeling like she would get what I like. The private school didn't have as many resources for like STEM, which is Emmeline's big thing. She loves science, math, especially, and like the social aspects, the clubs. So Emmeline went to private school and joined like 10 clubs in the band. So that was just stuff that she didn't have at the private school. And a big reason we moved her when we did was because that 5th grade year, all the kids going into 5th grade all moved to the new school at the same time.
Okay, so everyone's meeting everyone at that time.
Yes. So like 3 schools came together, so it was all new for everybody. So it wasn't like she was the new girl. Everybody was new. And she's not really the type to be like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Well, I need some help.
That makes sense. I remember how much easier it probably was for me to move to a rival school in junior high when 5 elementary schools from that town converged and no one knew I'd gone to the football rival. So yeah, awesome. I think public school, I'm a fan of public schools. I don't know how they are there in Maine, but
you're supposed to be there right now, aren't you? Probably. Yeah. Sorry, you're missing dance tonight. Okay.
We can do this another time, sis.
She's supposed to be there. Go get ready.
Okay. Oh, she's physically going.
She is physically going to dance. Dance is crazy. She has summer dance, and her Thursday classes are canceled for this week. Or not canceled, but they just don't have it. But apparently she has ballet this week, and it's not in my calendar. So I'm like, no, she doesn't. But I remembered a conversation we had this weekend that apparently, yes, she does. I'm just wrong.
As much dance as she's doing, I can understand how that's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah, because especially right now in the summer, she's doing these 8-week intensives. That's what it's ballet on Tuesdays, and she has a jazz one and a contemporary one on Thursdays. But they're also, she has like 3-day intensives, like consecutive, every couple of weeks. I'm not really sure. So I try to keep everything in the calendar so I know what I'm doing. And I missed this one.
With that much, I can understand missing one.
Yeah, between the two kids, they're constantly going.
Yeah, I don't envy that.
I love that she loves it, and I love that she's passionate about it, and it makes her happy and it keeps her active. So I'm happy to commit. And then, but sometimes she dives into everything, like both feet. She wants to do it all. And then Bentley is like complete opposite. He doesn't want to do any of the things, but he needs it. Like he needs to have more routine, more structure, more discipline, I guess, from other adults, like learning how to take directions from other adults. And he needs stuff to keep him active, which is why we tried tennis. He loves skiing. So we've got those. He hates team sports, like all of them.
I can understand that. I obviously played and loved team sports growing up, but I loved tennis too. I don't like tennis doubles. I only liked singles when I played tennis. Not that I ever played with anyone but like a couple friends and Joe. So
Yeah, I think he's gonna like singles better any too. But like team sports there's too many people. He doesn't too many people like trying to figure out what to do. So like he wants specific directions. I do this here. Whereas like team sports, especially like outfield and baseball, like sometimes there's some overlap of who should get that ball or who should go to this base or whatever. And that is not that doesn't process in his head. He hates that.
yeah, it's difficult. I remember like in lacrosse, thankfully the defensemen I played with were such good friends of mine that we didn't have to communicate much. We knew who was going to do what, and we could like joke and make like a funny noise, and we would know. But like that camaraderie is hard to get. I think, especially on a baseball field when you're so far from everyone.
Yeah, and at the time he was playing in the town we lived in, but he went to school in a different town. So he didn't actually have any friends on the team at all. But because of Little League rules, there was no way for him to play in a different town.
Yeah, because it's
There's
all like based on where you live, right?
Yeah, because people who cheats at Little League? Like, come on, people, you ruined it for the rest of us.
I remember Adam Banks in the first Mighty Ducks film. He was playing for the wrong team. He should have been D5.
Yes, and that kind of thing in baseball completely ruined things.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, if you're okay with it, I can call this part one because I think other parents will get amused in the gaff of dance class.
Absolutely, I'm fine with that. All parents do it. I mean, there was one day for her dance competition class, so the comp team class, they are only allowed to miss 2 of those the whole year. They get kicked off the team. I took her to the movies. I forgot. We got invited with some friends to go see a movie, and I just forgot about dance. So she got a text message in the movie like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Oops."
I just love that no matter how into dance she gets, you're never going to become one of those dance moms because it's not in you.
No, I'll take you when I can remember. And I love watching her dance. But if I had remembered, I may have picked the movie anyway because I wanted to see it.
That's fair. And you got to socialize.
Yeah.
And not that dance or any other sport isn't socializing, but it's a different socializing.
It is.
I
It
remember when
really
I
is.
started skateboarding is why I quit playing football. I enjoyed skateboarding and dance class myself way more than I ever enjoyed football practice. It was just kind of one of those like, why am I dedicating 6 days a week to a sport I'm not enjoying when I'm having more fun at dance class or at the skate park? I can't even stand on a skateboard, and I was having more fun at the skate park. So,
Yeah.
but Emily, like based on everything I see, she just absolutely loves dance, and the videos are so fun to watch. So,
Okay. All right. She's ready, so I have to go.
all right, love you, cabbage roll.
Oh,
All right, thank you so
bye.
much. Hi, Emily. Have fun at dance.
I will.
I'll
Bye,
see you
Greg.
soon. Bye, sis. Love
Yep.
you.
Bye.